How's it going?
Awful, actually.
Oh no. Why awful?
I've been sick half a week. The kids have been sick a full week now.
Hmm.
Just been stuck at home. Has mean I've watched more Olympics than I have in my entire life because I've just been on the couch. Also more Bluey than ever before.
And what would you have done had you not gotten a TV a few weeks ago?
That's a good question.
Serendipitous.
What would we have done? I guess Johannes might have watched Bluey on the iPad and maybe watched the Olympics on a computer. I mean, I still got a computer monitor I can set up. And the Olympics is 100% streaming.
Yeah.
So it probably would have been done just on smaller screens.
Hopefully not COVID related illness.
Highly unlikely.
Okay.
I mean, we had like
But,
3 cases of COVID in the last 12 months, so
right?
yeah.
I ended up going around my family here a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now.
COVID did.
It did, yeah.
Oh man. Everyone's okay now?
So yeah, everyone's fine. We had a few fevers and just general like sniffly noses and sore throats, but kids got over it quickly, and I was vaccinated, so I never had any symptoms. I don't even know if I actually had it or if I was protected, or either way, I felt fine. So
Did you have any instances of a vaccinated person showing symptoms?
no, not not that I'm aware of.
Well, we're running ahead of schedule here, recording a week earlier.
Yeah, thanks for being flexible with that. It was kind of tricky to coordinate our schedules.
Yeah, it was a bit. I kind of, because it's like a Saturday morning, so I know when all our podcasts are, and I end up just scheduling things quite, a month in advance for the alternating Saturday morning for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so thanks for doing it a week early, I suppose, because I wouldn't have been able to do it, like skip a week for at least a month.
All right. Well, I feel like we still will have some rescheduling just because we've got Apple events coming up, and we usually do end up messing with our schedule around that time.
Yeah, could be tricky, but I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
We're good like that.
So I got roped into singing on a show during our regular podcast recording time. So I recently, here in the last couple months, started visiting the chorus in my hometown again and singing with them. And then I actually started singing with them because I saw a flyer posted for a show they had coming up here this week. And so I went back to sing with them, and they got a few songs that I remember singing with them in high school, some of the classic ones, but there's some new stuff they're learning too. And everyone was very excited I was back and wanted me to be on the show. And I am very not ready still. Like, I don't know half the songs still.
So are you coming in as like the special guest? You know, the talent that everyone's expecting, like the world from you from this show?
I mean, it's not like I'm going to be featured on anything. I'm just singing in a chorus with other people. So the director asked me specifically just to do it anyway, like even if I need sheet music up there while they're singing, because like morale and confidence for everyone else, because the chorus is just getting back together after being apart for over a year. So yeah, I guess.
How embarrassing though. Sheet music on stage. I have no idea if that's embarrassing.
I will try to avoid it if I can.
Okay.
I'd rather not. And it will be sheet music in the form of an iPad.
Uh-huh.
So, but I don't know yet. I've got 6 days to learn half a dozen songs.
Yeesh. How many people make up a chorus? Like if you started mouthing, is there going to be a gap in the tune?
No. I could probably just not sing for the parts I don't know. It's really not notes, it's just words. There's songs I'm not familiar with enough to even mouth. So if I could at least learn the words, I could probably go without sheet music.
Maybe a backing track, Record it in advance on your iPad and then just pipe that into the microphone. Just your
It's
part,
not a
though.
bad idea. We've got one more chorus rehearsal on Monday prior to the show. So maybe I will just record some of that so that I can spend the week practicing with a recording of the chorus singing.
Yeah, could be helpful.
Could be.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first up, you've posted a photo in the show notes of what looks like a tremendous internet speed test. What's that about?
I was out and about today and happened to be somewhere that I had ultra wideband signal for the very first time with my iPhone 12.
Ah, I just
And
see
so
that there, that symbol. I didn't notice that to start with. 5G UW.
Yeah, so I ran a speed test and thought I'd share it with you. Getting well over gigabit speeds over cell phone signal is pretty crazy.
That is crazy. Don't mention the upload speed, though, because that'll just kill it.
I got a down of 1245, and upload of 20 is not bad either.
Yeah, but you can get better upload on 4G.
That's true. But yeah, it was very, very impressive download speeds.
That's insane.
So, and I happened to be, maybe this was not a coincidence, I was sitting in the parking lot right in front of an Apple store getting that speed.
Could you see the phone tower from where you were?
I looked for it because I knew that if I was getting that speed, I must be right next to it.
Yeah, well, line of
And
sight at least, even if it was a few hundred meters away.
Right, yeah. I believe I did see it. There was a small box on a lamp post that looked like what I would suspect a 5G antenna to look like. So, yeah, if I had to guess, that was it.
They're not really phone towers, are they?
No, not really. So they're kind of something small that can be stuck up just like around town, because you basically have to cover the streets in them if you want a continuous ultra wideband signal for more than a block.
So it was on a light pole, did you say?
Yep.
Did you spot any others around you? Like, try and trace them back to the source? I don't know, how do they work? Do you think they connect back to the phone tower, or they just connect it up to, the nearest fiber node or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know enough about how it's connected, but I assumed it was connected to fiber or something. But yeah, I only saw the one, but I did not spend a lot of time looking out. I just saw it and moved on. So I was sitting in the parking lot in front of an Apple store because I was debating picking up a MagSafe battery pack.
Ah, okay.
But I managed to hold myself back, and I did not go in the Apple store. Mostly
What?
because I have absolutely no need for that.
Oh, so that's why you didn't buy one, because you didn't need it. Okay. Now I follow.
The only need that I had was we had a show coming up a week early, and I thought that'd be an interesting thing to talk about if I had one.
Mm-hmm. Write it off as a business expense too.
That's right, yeah. But that and Apple stores have gone back to requiring masks and stuff in the store, and so I just thought it probably wasn't worth the effort because they had like a temperature checker out front, and I was like, I'm not going to go through all that to go in there and buy something I don't really need.
Yeah, I saw that via a post on the Apple subreddit. Someone who seemed to be less familiar with Apple stores posted like, I tried to buy an iPad and I got rejected. Like, they told me to come back sometime when I had an appointment. Like, I just wanted to buy the iPad. No, apparently you can't do that anymore. Not when
really?
at this stage of the lockdown or whatever at this stage of the precautions.
I guess it's a good thing I didn't even try. I wasn't aware that you had to have an appointment to go in again.
Ah, okay.
So I would have got turned away anyway.
Did you use your 1.2 gigabits per second speed to do anything besides the speed test?
No, it's not like I was going to sit in the parking lot and watch Netflix or something. I guess I should have maybe tried to download like a movie or something just to see how quick it would have been.
Mm-hmm. I would have been interested to see. I mean, I can see that the phone is plugged in this screenshot, but how long you could do something at that speed for on battery power.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was plugged into CarPlay when I took the screenshot.
Maybe you should have started streaming something and then checked if you could go in and get the battery pack and come out and unpackage it and attach it before the battery of your phone ran out.
I got the 12 Pro Max, so I probably could have done that.
Yeah,
but I would have lost ultra wideband signal walking into the store.
Yeah, that too. You would have had to leave it in your car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard some pretty bad reports about the ultra wide battery life.
Yeah. It's so rare as to not be a problem at all for most people.
Uh-huh.
It's cool to see, and it's cool to see that it works, because it almost, if you told me I get above gigabit speeds on my phone, I wouldn't have believed it.
No way. It seems too futuristic.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We're back in that time where the phone speed is better than the landline connection to the house. I remember when Australia was still stuck on ADSL, and yet 4G was about. You'd get 40/40 on your phone, and at home the best you'll get is like 18/1. And this was the case for years. It was comical. Like when you needed a fast connection, you just tethered to your phone. I often would for uploading as well. I mean, because like 1 megabit upload speed is fairly unusable. When are we going back to? When am I talking? I think I maybe got NBN. Like the NBN is like our non-ADSL upgrade from ADSL, but I think it was only 2018. So there was a long time where I was stuck on 1 megabit per second. I think we're already doing the show at that point too. So like to upload the show, for instance, I would tether to my phone rather than do it over the landline. And now yeah. And now we're back here again.
Is that because you had no other choice, or just because faster speeds were so expensive for landlines, or?
No, if you're not familiar with ADSL, the limit of that technology is 25 down and 1 up.
But you couldn't have gotten like a fiber connection to your home or anything else at that point? Like it just wasn't available?
It was not available, no. That was it.
Wow. I definitely had better internet speeds than that in like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, because I remember when LTE came to the iPhone with the iPhone 5 in 2012, there were talks about, LTE making your phone speed as good as Wi-Fi, but we never had the issue where it was faster than Wi-Fi.
Right.
So that's crazy and sounds unusable in today's world.
Yeah, it was definitely unusable. I mean, I uploaded my entire iCloud photo library on ADSL at 1 megabit. It took months. We even had these...
taking any Zoom calls.
Sorry?
I said you certainly aren't going to be taking any Zoom calls.
No, probably not. I think it was usable. It was just a very heavily compressed connection.
Okay.
There are certain companies that were making the most of like the slow landline connections and sticking up. What was the technology? It might have been WiMAX or something like that, like on every skyscraper that they could, and then they'd even like let you put 25-meter poles on top of your house to try and get line of sight to whatever skyscraper was closest to you and offer a faster connection that way.
Huh. I don't think I'm familiar with WiMAX.
I could be getting the technology wrong. WiMAX, I'm pretty sure. WiMAX is a family of broadband communication standards.
Huh. 802.16. Okay. So it sounds like a beefed up 802.11, which is like what Wi-Fi runs off of.
And this might even be one that doesn't require line of sight. It kind of looks like it doesn't. So yeah. It was probably something else. Doesn't matter. I added this next topic in because I thought it specifically applied to a complaint that you had brought up in the past, which is that iOS 15 Beta 4 can auto-remove lens flares. So I don't think I've ever had a complaint about lens flares, but you certainly have, haven't you?
Yeah, it's definitely my biggest complaint with the cameras on the iPhone. And it's something that I have to be conscious of when taking photos, especially, well, outside especially, but also just any photo that has any like point of light in it, a lamp or a light bulb or anything. I have to be very careful about taking photos in that situation and try to like position them or frame them in such a way that either the lens flare is in a place that's not obvious, or I can like get the light source just outside the frame or something so that I don't see it.
And how long has this been a case for you? Because I think you brought it up since the 11, wasn't it, that you first had the problem?
I've noticed it more in my 12 Pro Max, but it has been something that has existed for years. But I think, in the right lighting conditions, any lens can get a flare on it.
Yeah, basically.
But it seems to be in more common cases for me recently with my last couple iPhones. I've noticed it quite a bit.
Well, have you had a chance to test out Beta 4 and if it's working to remove the lens flare yet?
I am on the latest beta. I haven't noticed it yet. I need to maybe like go back through my photo library and see if I can. The problem is I try so hard to avoid the lens flare that I would have to go back quite a ways to find a photo that would have had a lens flare in it, and then by this point I've forgotten which ones would have. So
yep.
I need to take some deliberate photos of lens flares and then see how it handles them.
Excuse me.
What was that?
I sneezed.
That was a sneeze?
What do you mean that was a sneeze?
That was the highest pitched sneeze I've ever heard, James.
It's like Troy in Community. Did you watch Community?
Yes, exactly. Community is one of my favorite shows.
Okay. Well, finally, after 34 years of being alive, someone has told me that I sneeze like a girl. I never knew. I thought my sneeze was normal.
Really? No one's ever said that to you?
Yes, man. Why have I lived with this shame for so long?
Maybe that's just how people sneeze over there. It's just different.
Oh my god. Well, I've been sneezing like an MF in the last week, so I'm bound to sneeze at least once more during this podcast. And you can give me another another judgment. You can pass judgment on another sneeze and shame me.
Well, I'll tell you what. You've got a chance to redeem yourself.
Oh, yeah, I could look at it that way as well.
Yep. Anyway,
yeah.
I need to take some deliberate photos with a lens flare, and then did this article specify how long it takes? Like, is it immediate that this lens flare gets removed? Because I'm just sitting here at my desk. I just took one. I just like pointed my camera at the light in my office, and there's a huge lens flare.
Right.
So now if I open the photos, I still see it. So I don't know how long I need to wait for this to actually get processed out, or if it's going to happen at all. It's hard to say.
I think, well, it says, I mean, the text says when it can auto-remove a lens flares when post-processing a photo, but auto-remove when post-processing. So I'm kind of sounds like post-processing is when you go into like the edit screen of a photo, but you shouldn't need to do that for something automatic to happen, if you know what I mean.
Right. I mean, post-processing could be that step that like the iPhone goes through to do face detection and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is completely arbitrary when that actually happens, but usually requires being plugged into power.
And then, so this article is actually from a Reddit user who has said that they took the photo, noticed it was ruined, or needed to be edited later, but once they got home, they found that the lens flare had then disappeared. And yet, if they watched through the live photo, it was there, like, except on the frame. That counts as the still.
Well, I will give it a shot. I will keep these photos in my camera roll, and hopefully by the next show, I'll have an update whether or not those lens flares got removed for me, because they're very obvious ones. So if it doesn't work in that case, it's not going to be useful for me.
So this is counting back to the 10S, the 11, and the 12. Apparently, this works on.
Okay. I think that's certainly the point where I started noticing lens flares. So I assume there's probably a processing power limit, and that's where the cutoff is. But it also seems to be about when the lens flares started getting bad. So maybe there is other correlation there.
I still find it odd that I haven't really noticed it on any phone that I've had. With the caveat that I went from 10 to 12.
Maybe it's an issue more with the slightly different sensor on my 12, and that's why it's more apparent to me than the 12 mini. Yeah, I mean, between the two of us, you're definitely the more photographically inclined. So if one of us would have noticed, I would have thought it'd be you.
Yeah. Although
maybe you just don't take as many photos like pointing at the sun or something.
Or just actually use a camera instead of my phone a lot of the time, which is true as well.
Right. I mean, there's probably some skill involved as well, right? Because it's second nature to you how to frame a shot and make it look good. And I just got to point my camera at my kids and, the sun's in the background and now there's a big lens flare over one of their faces.
I don't think through every photo like that. A lot of the time it's just point and shoot.
It's second nature. You don't have to think about it. It's just muscle.
Oh, really?
Frame a shot well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The big topic for the week. Expanded protections for children. It's caused quite the controversy. We should probably say what it is first. So there are three parts to it.
A 3-step process, yeah.
Well, it's not a 3-step process. It's 3 completely separate things.
Right.
Let's go in order of biggest to smallest, I guess. The first one, the biggest one I would say is the CSAM detection. So CSAM, I'm going with that pronunciation, stands for Child Sexual Abuse Material. So to try and summarize it, if you have CSAM material in your Photos app and you're using iCloud Photo Library, before it's uploaded, a hash of the photo gets compared against a hash of a known set of CSAM material and gets flagged, not sent to Apple yet, but flagged. And then if a predefined threshold of flags occur, then that flag or whatever it is gets sent to Apple. And then Apple has a chance to review a low-res version of the actual photo that's been flagged, who then forward it on to the NCMEC, the NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And also, asterisk, it's only in the US for now. I think I got everything in that.
Yeah. Worth noting, this isn't entirely new. This is something that Apple's been doing for years already against things stored in iCloud. This exact process, or a very similar one, of comparing hashes has been done for years for data in iCloud, and is done by all of the major tech companies. Google, Microsoft, Dropbox all have a very similar process for looking for CSAM, as you call it. So the change here is that now this checking is being done on your device prior to uploading.
Can you explain why that change has been made?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why has it been made? It seems like the argument would be just to help protect more children, because if people have these photos only on their device and don't upload it to Apple, then they could continue abusing children.
But that is the fact. If they don't upload it to Apple, it never gets checked for CSAM.
In the current implementation.
No, in the new implementation.
I guess my understanding is slightly different, is that this will just be done against all your phones, and prior doesn't mean immediately prior, but just while it's on your phone.
So it's only run on an image immediately prior to being uploaded to iCloud Photos. and then the flag and the photo is then uploaded. If you're not using iCloud Photo Library, nothing ever starts happening. There's no scanning.
I don't see the justification for it needing to be done on device.
Well, you could be a cynic and say, no, that doesn't work. I was going to say, Apple doesn't want the liability of having the images in iCloud, but actually, in their words, the image is still uploaded to iCloud. So the cynic falls apart.
My guess, if you had to come up with a reason why it had to be done this way, and this has not been said anywhere as far as I'm aware, photos stored in iCloud are encrypted, and this check needs to be done prior to encryption. And so, to avoid sending unencrypted photos, they're checking it on your phone and then encrypting it and sending it.
So how were they doing it before, as you said?
Well, I know they're doing it on things stored in iCloud, like iCloud Drive, and a lot of data on your iCloud is not encrypted. And I don't know which things are and aren't. I don't know if photos in the Photos app versus photos in iCloud Drive are treated differently.
Right, okay. So I guess the question is iCloud Photo Library end-to-end encrypted?
There has to be some justification, and that's the closest thing I come up with, because otherwise, this was not worth the headache. I mean, the easiest answer to this, if honestly it could be done on their servers, is just it's saving them money by not having to run it on their servers and making everyone's phone do these checks instead. I don't know if that's a legitimate argument, but encryption would be my best guess without them spelling it out somewhere.
Yeah. My guess is that iCloud Photo Library is end-to-end encrypted, and other content is usually backed up to iCloud, which we know isn't end-to-end encrypted, so that's scannable. But the photo library itself isn't, backed up to iCloud, just because of how it exists. And so they need to do the scanning on the device.
And generally, maybe this is backfiring a bit on them, because generally they use on-device processing as a selling point. They say, see, look, we don't get any of this data. It's all being done on your device. And that's a privacy win. And in this case, no one is happy with that because it feels invasive for them to be scanning their photos. And I think it's a combination of, there's a lot of people that just misunderstand how this is being done and don't understand the concept of hashing these photos and comparing the hash value against a database of known CSAM hashes. And they think Apple's actually scanning photos and trying to detect what's in them.
Yeah, that was my very first concern. When I very first saw this article, I thought, what about my kids when they're in the bath? You take photos of that. I don't want to be flagged as a predator because of that. But this is comparing against a known set of photos, so that is not an issue.
Yeah, I think one of the next complaints is that the nature of these hashes, this isn't like encryption where every encrypted photo has its own unique encryption and there's one photo, one key. This hashing, potentially a hashed photo could match another hashed photo. They could have the same hash value. And I believe the likelihood for that happening was like 1 in a trillion. So it's very low, but theoretically possible. And that is why there is a threshold you have to pass. It's not just one hash matches. It's got to be a certain number that Apple didn't specify for them to be alerted that there's a potential issue. The next biggest concern, which I think is honestly the most legitimate one, is that Apple is comparing hashes of all your photos against a government database of hashes that are flagged as dangerous. So there is no stopping any government from supplying Apple, whether Apple knows or not, with hashes that aren't CSAM but are anti-government or things that are illegal in one country. Like maybe the Saudi government says, these homosexual images, are flagged, and then suddenly Apple is maybe alerting certain governments of this person is likely a homosexual based on all these hash matches. So the problem is that this system has the ability to be abused.
There is one safety precaution against that, which is that someone at Apple gets to review the photo before it's sent on to the authority. So it's placing a lot of trust in this team at Apple to, that they don't know that, say, for example, a random government supplied all these homosexual hashes, but once they get a chance to see what the image is, they can go, oh, whoops, now we can't trust the hashes from government Y anymore. But yeah, the faith is now...
Sure, that's assuming Apple does it unknowingly, and it's not in agreement with any government.
How do you mean?
Well, so Apple's current stance is that this is very much just for CSAM. But there could be a behind-the-scenes backdoor agreement between Apple and some other government at some point. It's like,
right,
well, now you can use a system to do this. And we got to trust Apple wouldn't do that.
Yeah, like to sell iPhones in China, for instance,
right?
You have to start matching against pro-democracy banners.
Right. So, and this goes very strong. I think it's the fact that Apple will then, assuming all this criteria is matched, will then report you to the government, which goes very much against their what happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone marketing that they've been using the last couple of years.
Well, I feel that there is a bit of a well, this only applies when you have iCloud photos. So it's kind of saying what stays in your iPhone stays on your iPhone, unless you want to upload it to the internet, and then it's already not staying on your iPhone, so we're going to do something with it. I know that would have a ton of people angry about that sort of distinction, but just a small bit of support for that stance still.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to argue against because you almost have to take like a pro child predator stance to argue against something like this with the way they're marketing it, at least. But it's not that at all. It's not what it sounds like when you say that. I don't think Apple should be checking for this kind of stuff. It's just the fact that it has the potential to be abused. In the same way Apple was going against the FBI 6 years ago, saying that if we put a backdoor in the iPhone for you in this one case, there's no way to guarantee it won't be abused in the future. And I feel like that's kind of what this is, where it's a good cause, but it now has the potential to be abused, whether it's by Apple or another government supplying these hashes to Apple.
I can think of a few other non-big government abuses as well. What if you're like sitting on a train and some malicious person airdrops you like 20 photos? The first one, which looks like, I don't know, a cat smiling, and 2 through 20 is CSAM material, and you accept it, and suddenly you've, unknowingly, it's uploading to iCloud. Even if you were to delete it, a lot of people don't realize that the deleted album is still uploaded to iCloud because that's synced across devices too. And suddenly you're flagged and disabled.
Yeah. Without a more thorough understanding of how the system is implemented, it's hard to know what it would take to cross that threshold, but it seems like something like that would be an easy way to attack people if that is all it takes.
Yeah. It's not like getting access to someone else's device, but just to shut down someone's Apple ID for however long the review period takes. I can't imagine it's quick. It seems pretty trivial.
I don't know if they shut down your Apple ID or they leave it alone so that... Because if I had to guess how the system works, you wouldn't want to alert the person that you're aware that they have this. So you'd probably want things to look as normal as possible and then just send that information over to the government and let them deal with it without signaling to this person at all that, you're aware of what they're doing.
Well, if we were to take the order in which Apple says they take steps, it first says the user's account is disabled, and then the report is sent to NCMC. They list it in that order.
Okay. I suppose once you have whatever the threshold is of enough evidence, it'd be fine. I'd just be worried about you alert someone and that gives them time to delete a bunch of stuff before someone comes knocking on their door. But
I don't think once the photo's been flagged, I don't think the user would be able to delete it out of such that it couldn't be reviewed then by Apple. I don't think that would happen.
I was more worried about, if someone's got something on their iPhone, they probably have it on hard drives on their computers too.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. But I suppose Apple probably wants to minimize the amount of that they have, so they want to shut you down as quick as possible.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So it seems like it's happening. There's been a lot of public outcry about it, but I don't think this is something Apple will backpedal on. And it's a system that's already existed on a lot of different companies have already implemented on their online storage, and it seems to have not had a lot of false flag issues. So hopefully this will go off without any issue in the near future, and then long term, hopefully Apple can be trusted with this level of access to your information.
Yeah, I can't help but see this as a good feature despite the criticisms. And for people who are hyper privacy sensitive, why are they using cloud services to begin with? And
right,
they can just turn it off and then this doesn't apply to them. That's how I see it. For better or for worse.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of felt like Apple was the solution. It's like, if you want to use these cloud services, but you want to keep a focus on privacy, Apple's the only company that's offering that. And now Apple's not offering it either, and people are upset.
Gotcha, yeah. But iCloud backups were never even encrypted, so...
Well, I think there actually was a time they were, but...
what was there? Okay.
Yeah, which... I feel like it was around the FBI time. It's like, look, we're not going to lock our iPhones, but we won't encrypt iCloud backups anymore. Wink, wink. So... Yeah. So there's always been a little bit of weird stuff going on with that. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the you've got nothing to worry about if you've got nothing to hide argument, because I certainly do see how it could be abused in the future.
Oh yeah, that can never be supported.
Right. But yeah, I think this will probably end up not being a big deal, and we probably won't ever hear about it again once it's all blown over.
So part 2 is quite different, and some commentators said perhaps these features should have been announced at different times so that people didn't conflate them. So when you have a child with a child account, so this only applies to child accounts.
And that's under 13.
Under 13. Messages will do not what we were talking about before, where photos are matched against a set of matches, but it'll actually scan the photo and use probably some sort of machine learning to determine if it's a nude, and then blur the photo and alert the parents. So very, very different, completely different to the previous topic. It is on-device machine learning to determine if it's a sexually explicit photo. Also noted that the feature is designed so that Apple does not get access to the message in question.
Right, ever.
Also applies to outgoing messages, so incoming and outgoing.
Mm-hmm. Which this actually seems completely fine, because Apple's never gets access to the photos. It's all being done on the device itself. This seems like, if you're talking about protecting children, this seems like potentially a much more valuable way to do it, where you're censoring potentially explicit photos going to children and alerting the parents that they are either sending or receiving photos like that.
Yeah, my children aren't at an age yet where this is a concern for me, but I can certainly see it being a very valuable feature to have down the track. I do like, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, in contrast to the CSAM scanning feature, the biggest feedback I've seen on this iMessage safety feature is people complaining that they can't have it on their children account who are older than 13. They're like, I don't want my 14-year-old to be receiving messages either. What can I do?
Just go in and change their age. Easy.
Yeah, there you go.
Forever 10.
Uh-huh.
So the way it works is that the image will be grayed out, and then there'll be a little line underneath it that says this may be sensitive, an option to still view the photo, and then 2 more prompts. One that says this could be sensitive to view, are you sure? And then either not now or I'm sure. And then the next screen which says, it's your choice, but your parents want to know you're safe. And then another option, don't view the photo or view photo. At that point, if they click view photo, the parents will get the notification. And also a little reassuring message, don't share anything you don't want to. Talk to someone you trust if you feel pressured. You're not alone, you can always get help.
Right. Yeah, it seems very valuable.
Yeah. So on the previous screen, there are a few other messages which I thought were very kid appropriate. It's not your fault, but sensitive photos and videos can be used to hurt you. The person in this might not want it seen. It could have been shared without them knowing. Sensitive photos and videos show the private body parts that you cover with bathing suits.
Yeah. Very child-friendly way of wording everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any argument against this. Do you have any thoughts why this could be abused?
No, didn't have any actually. No.
Yeah, I think this is great.
And the third part of it, I admittedly haven't given this much attention, expanding guidance in Siri and search. For example, users who ask Siri how they can report CSAM or child exploitation will be pointed to resources for where and how to file a report. And Siri and search are also being updated to intervene when users perform searches for queries related to CSAM. Now, this did get a bit of a blowback, like people saying, "Oh, Siri, don't intervene when I try to make a search." Well, I don't know. Seems like it kind of should, if this is the sort of stuff you're searching for.
That would be, I don't know who would be asking Siri for that kind of content. But this is not new. Siri has always had specialized responses for certain kinds of requests. They just added one more criteria. So this didn't seem like much of a highlight, except that they've got, built-in links for filing reports that Siri will pop up with.
And it doesn't appear to be sending anything back to Apple in this instance either.
I like that if you ask Siri to search for CSAM or something, she responds with material depicting the sexual abuse of children is illegal, and then the action button underneath says get help.
Well,
learn more and get help, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I think overall positive stuff with the small asterisk that, or not so small depending on who you ask, asterisk that this just has the potential to be abused. But as we talked about just in our last show, the government already has access to everything on everyone's phone if they wanted it, so you don't have really that much privacy anyway.
Yeah.
And also, as we talked about in our last show, keep your nudes in offline storage.
Did you like that title?
That was great.
Actually, the last show was just a treasure trove of titles, but I got Yasmin to pick in the end and she chose that one.
Oh, did you make a list for her, or did you make her listen to the show and decide?
Occasionally when I am editing the show, I'll just note down things as I hear them, and then at the end I'll decide. But there were just too many good ones, so I left it to her.
All right. Well, she made a good choice. I'll have to thank her.
The next topic is something that, it's kind of a mini topic, I guess. Is that the Mail app has combined two of your emails into one.
Yeah, I take it you've watched the little video I shared on Twitter.
I have.
It's the strangest thing. It's not completely new. I have had many instances in the past where attachments on emails on my iOS email app are just wrong. Like they're the wrong attachment. Like I've had my mom email me documents like from her work email, and instead of the attached document, the attachment is just like the big logo for her company. It shows up as like an attachment, but I click on it and it's just the image. And I've got to view the email on a web browser to actually look at the attachment and see it's a Word document or something. I've gotten emails from coworkers before where their email signature is like a random screenshot that I have no idea where it's come from. But just a screenshot of their desktop where a company logo should be in their email signature. and it just shows up on the iOS email app for me. I have no idea how that happens, but it's not new. This is something that's happened for a couple years for me, and I always thought that it was just mixing up attachments, and that's weird, but not an issue. But then yesterday, I got an email with an invoice for a hotel I stayed in, and the attached invoice is an invoice for a Twitch subscription renewing, which is weird in itself because now it's attached something from a different email entirely into this second email. But the attached PDF of my Twitch invoice has also taken on the styling of a Hilton invoice. It's not a regular Twitch one. It's all the Twitch data, but in the Hilton format. And I don't know enough how PDFs work, but it seems like it has like the CSS styling of a website applied to this wrong data. And it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And the data is all in the correct spot. Like the address is where the address should be. The line item is, the price. Everything's in the right spot. So all the data is in the right spot. All the data from the Twitch invoice in the right spot on the Hilton layout.
Right. And it's a PDF, which I didn't know PDFs could have styling, but they have to apparently, because how else could this have happened?
This is just the strangest thing.
It is. It is very strange.
I have certainly seen in Mac Mail, actually, not iOS Mail, that I open up an attachment on an email and it's an attachment from another email. That has happened to me before, guaranteed.
Right. Yeah.
That's just an Apple Mail thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But combining two PDFs and actually laying out data from one PDF in another correctly is just like... I've zero theories of how that could happen. Well, I mean, my only theory is that we're just misunderstanding, or that's just how the invoice came through this time. Like Twitch just laid it out and it looks similar to the Hilton one. That's my only going theory.
Well, let me pull up my email real quick just to confirm this. Well, this might be harder than I thought, because I actually got like the legitimate email also from Hilton, like with their invoice, and it was identical. So it's not just like a similarly laid out email from Twitch.
And if you get the Twitch invoice in like iCloud Mail, webmail, how does it look?
Well, I don't have any recent examples of it to reference, but
so
like that.
So even if you get this PDF from webmail, it looks wrong.
My issue now is I've since deleted it and never actually looked at it on a web browser.
You delete email?
Whatever swiping all the way to the left does now. It depends on which web mail client you're using. It archives it. I don't even know what archive means. Does archive mean it's going to be on my device, or does it mean I can get to it from gmail.com?
I don't use Gmail, so I don't know.
It's a good thing you've prompted me to dig through my email, because I found something in my junk mail that should not be there.
Glad to be of service.
I never would have seen it otherwise. Move to inbox. Okay, cool. I still have no idea. Here's the thing. I like deleting emails because I know what delete means, and I still don't know what archive means. And I feel like it has a different meaning depending on what email client you're using.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Gmail, I think from memory, it's removed from the inbox and it just goes to all mail.
Oh, there's
going
an
back
all mail
like
folder.
Going back like 10 years though.
Okay, well, if I look at the all mail folder on my iPhone, the most recent emails in there are from February of 2020. So that's not helpful.
Oh, weird. You sure it has updated already? Maybe that was the last time you visited it. You know, when you go to a folder you haven't been to for a while, it takes like half a minute to refresh.
I'm looking at all mail in my browser, and it also doesn't have these files that I'm looking for, but it does more recent, as like it has emails from today.
Riveting podcasting as David looks for emails.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to go off this video that I shared, because if an email is not in my inbox, it does not exist to me, and this is why, because I can never figure out how to use email. I feel like an old man right now.
Just follow my practice, which is to never move anything out of the inbox ever.
Oh, I can't do that. I hate having a cluttered inbox.
Well, here's the trick. Always use the filter by unread. So the only things you actually see are unread emails. They're all still there.
That doesn't work for me because the way I use my email is that things in my inbox are things that I need to take action on. So it's either an unpaid bill or something I need to respond to. And
Well, you could also use part 2 of my theory, where I actually filter by unread and flagged. So flagged is the need to action, and then I only see those 2 things in the inbox.
here is my third issue.
I've run out of flags to resolve whatever this issue is going to be.
Okay. When I say take action on, sometimes it doesn't mean that it actually needs something. I need to take action on it. Sometimes it means, and this is probably on me, I need to figure out a better way to do this. It means that it contains a piece of information that I think may be valuable to me at some point, someday in the future. But that I have
But that's
no
just
need for
email.
immediately. I guess.
That's every
but if it leaves my
email.
inbox, it doesn't exist to me anymore. That's not true. Half my emails are junk mail. So I delete a lot of stuff without reading it because my company is sending out a reminder to update your hours or whatever in our time management software. Or, we get like weekly, like, these are the new employees that were hired this week. I don't care. I mean, that's if it's someone I'm going to interact with, I would have already met them. Otherwise, I don't need to see a photo of their face and their name because I'm going to forget it immediately anyway. So I just delete those emails and things like that. Or my auto loan company is sending me an email saying you should also get a mortgage through us or something like that. So I delete all those. But sometimes I get an email from like the company marketing team. It's like, this is our new logos for all our products that need to be used in any official communication. I don't need those for anything, but maybe one day I am going to communicate with someone about one of these products. It'd be nice to be able to have that link handy to pull from. So I just leave that email in my inbox.
Right, so that's a read, unflagged email in your inbox.
Right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Why did you delete an invoice, though? Surely that fits into that last category you've just described.
No, I never go back to reference old invoices. It's not like I owed money. It was just, first of all, the real invoice from Hilton, the one that I saw, said both of these were just confirmations of auto bills, one from Twitch, one from Hilton. So once I looked at it and went like, yep, that's the amount I was charged, I deleted it because I don't need to see that again.
I disagree. I think that information could be useful in the future. I don't know, maybe even for like a tax purpose. You never know. Or for podcasting purposes.
Maybe this is, ignorance in my youth, but I don't think I need a hotel invoice for tax purposes. It wasn't a work expense or anything.
Okay.
So, anyway, very odd.
Extremely
The link
odd.
to the tweet showing this will be in the show notes. Someone watch it and explain to me what's going on, please.
I'd be very interested to see what your next Twitch invoice looks like as well.
Okay. Yeah, I could probably find one of those in my Gmail history. I just searched Twitch, but
That's all right. Wait for the next one to come up.
Email is an enigma. There's your show title.
All right, let me write it down. So next is something I've seen floating around a little bit called, well, I've called it this, the Apple Prime theory.
Right.
So,
and I have no idea what you're referencing here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Something for you to think about then. So something that we've often talked about is how the price for certain Apple services doesn't seem to warrant the content that they provide. For instance, TV Plus. There's not a whole lot in there that would make you want to continually subscribe for whatever it is, $5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
News Plus, same goes there, even more so. Apple Arcade, maybe worth the money for some people, but still pretty expensive. And on and on and on, just on that theme.
For what it's worth, I do think, in terms of amount of things you get for the money, News Plus is worth it. But the problem is, no one wants to read everything on News Plus. They have maybe one magazine they care about, and they're not going to pay $10 a month for that.
No way. Yeah.
Anyway, back to your theory.
Have you guessed where I'm going yet?
That they all exist only to get you to subscribe to Apple One and add value
Bingo.
to that, but don't exist on their own.
Bingo. What if, such as Amazon Prime's offering, you subscribe for one thing, but you just get so much other stuff along with it that it's just like a no-brainer to subscribe. You get the free deliveries, but you also get Prime Video, Prime Music, I guess. I don't know. You get like photo storage for free. You get like a one Twitch subscription. You just like for in Australia it's like $7 a month. You just get so much stuff that it's just a complete, not even a question. It is worth subscribing to Amazon Prime. What if Apple was trying to do that with something that costs like 5 times as much? What if there was just so much content, or there were so many services that were part of Apple One that was just no question that it was worth subscribing to it. And they don't really care if, so many people would subscribe to TV Plus. They actually care about who is subscribing to Apple One instead. That's the number they're going for.
I think that's totally valid. I agree that Apple One is worth the money without a doubt because of all things that are rolled into it. But there are things that I wouldn't be subscribed to otherwise. The problem with an Amazon Prime comparison for me is that Amazon Prime's like free shipping is already such an awesome value. Amazon could include nothing else in that deal and I would still pay for it every year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's what Apple is missing, is the one killer thing that everyone wants to subscribe for and everything else is just a bonus. Right now it's like, well, all these are kind of good, so I guess I'll pay for it because it's a good deal.
I mean, Apple One's is less than a year old, isn't it? So
right.
Maybe they just haven't hit that yet. Or maybe they're just counting on so many of their services. They've got so many things in there that like surely one of them is going to make sense to someone. So no, I guess you're right. Sorry, no one service in Apple One is worth the entire Apple One subscription like it is with Amazon. But that's tricky because Amazon Prime is like nothing per month, and Apple One is a lot more expensive.
Right. Yeah, I guess I never really think about Amazon Prime as a monthly expense because it's, $100 some a year as one payment, and that's all I ever think about it as. But yeah, when you break it up by month, it's like you said, $7 or $8 a month.
Oh, really? For you guys too? I think it's only $6.99 Australian, so sounds like we're getting a good deal here.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I've actually paid attention to what it renews at because it happens so infrequently, just once a year. But I think it's like $100 a year. So when you divide that by 12 months,
yeah, that works out then, doesn't it?
Yeah, $8 a year or so for us. 8.3.
$8 a month. Oh no.
$8 a year.
Yeah, no.
Month. Yeah. 8.3.
So we get it $3 cheaper US per month. And pay month by month. Whatever.
Yeah. There probably is a monthly option for us as well. And it might even be cheaper. I assume it'd be cheaper to pay it all at once than monthly.
Surely. Yeah, it normally is.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the Apple Prime theory.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it feels like they care about all these services individually because they were rolled out individually and Apple One came out years after, News Plus and things like that. But News Plus basically never made sense on its own. So I think if that wasn't its initial intention, that's the only reason it still exists, is because it adds value to Apple One at this point.
Mm-mm. And it only takes two services, two of some of the services to add up to the Apple One subscription already. Like, you want news and you already have iCloud storage, 2 terabytes. Mm-hmm. You're basically paying for Apple One already.
Yeah. iCloud storage is something I always pay for, no matter in what form, and Apple Music. So those two things on their own, and then Apple Arcade, I'll probably pay for that anyway as well because my kids like the games on there so much. So TV would probably be something I'd pay for occasionally when I want to watch like a new season of a show, and then I probably wouldn't pay for it. and news I never would pay for, and fitness I honestly probably wouldn't pay for if I didn't get for free either. But those things I get for free, so it kind of justifies Apple One for me.
There you go. Apple Prime theory has become practice. It's worked on you.
Are you a Apple One subscriber?
Not at the moment, but strongly considering it.
Yeah.
Still actually paying for Apple Music again. Paying for 2 terabytes of iCloud storage.
Mm-hmm.
The only annoyance for me is that like they add up to the family plan with 200 megabytes of storage. So I would actually have to get the Premier. I can't remember all this terminology, which is I think like another $15 on top of that. So
that's the one that has fitness, and you subscribe to fitness as well, though, right?
On and off, I do.
Okay.
On and off. So it's not a no-brainer for me, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they just keep adding value. I guess I don't know what else they could, monetize in the form of a subscription service, but at the very least, just keep adding content to TV Plus, because it's got some good content on it, and it seems like they've actually been adding quite a few recently. So,
okay.
That in itself could become a killer feature to the level of Apple Music or something in the future if they keep expanding their library with all this quality content.
How about some hardware? Chuck hardware into Apple One.
Ooh. You mean like the iPhone upgrade program or something?
Yeah.
That seems like the logical next step. It could do it.
Hardware as a service. HaaS.
That's something that I've avoided, for as long as it's existed, just because I'm scared that it means I won't get my iPhone on day one. And I've got to do a trade-in thing. So, never worth it for me.
AirTag child tracking. So you've put this text in here. I'm kind of in the dark as to what it means, though.
Well, as I mentioned previously, I stayed in a hotel recently. My stay in a hotel was because I went on a short trip with my daughter to a children's science museum a few hours away. And not really something I had planned on, but when we got to our hotel before going to the museum, I noticed I had an AirTag attached to my bag that I had packed our clothes for the night in. And I thought I might as well take this off the backpack and just attach it to her belt loop. Just in the off chance something happens and we get separated, it's one extra layer of protection. So I did that. I had the Belkin whatever loop accessory on it. So I put it around her belt loop and I stuck it down in her pocket. And luckily there was never a situation where I needed to use it to find her. But I did pull my phone out at one point in the museum just to see if it was practical at all for locating her. And it wasn't. I mean, it's just like weak signal, move closer, which isn't going to be helpful if I don't know where she is. And the museum was loud, so I couldn't just play a sound and find her because the AirTags aren't very loud. But I still feel like it probably would have been better than nothing. Like, I couldn't use precision finding to point me towards her at all times. But if something were to happen where she wandered farther away than just, she's on the other side of some play equipment, or, if someone were to try to grab her or something, maybe I wouldn't be able to keep precise bead on her exact location. But even an occasional update, like this is where she is because she passed an iPhone in this very reasonably crowded museum, I should say. It's better than nothing. I'd at least know what direction she's going or something. So I think that overall it was a success, at least for peace of mind, if nothing else.
That's what you're relying on, isn't it? Someone else with an iPhone to be near her to then ping you back, and then you get a general sense of the vicinity if it was a big location. Yeah. And the peace of mind as a little bonus. The pecan on the pie.
Exactly. So, not an ideal solution if I did want something to just like point at her at all times, but I don't think anything exists that does that. And I think if you're somewhere like a children's museum where there is a number of people around, an AirTag could be a useful solution, because you don't need necessarily like an Apple Watch for GPS location at all times in that situation.
Yeah. And she's old enough that she's not going to eat it as well.
Right. Yeah, she's 5. When I put it on her, she was very curious about what it is, and I told her it was just so I could find her in case someone tried to take her or something happened. And she wanted to play with it and pull it out of her pocket a bunch. She's like, "No, you gotta leave it in your pocket. That way, that it's not useful if someone were to try to take you and they saw you had that, they would just take it off, and then I wouldn't be able to find you. So you need to leave that in your pocket and keep it a secret." And then for the first like 5 minutes or so, we walked in the museum, she had her shirt like pulled down tight over her pocket, trying to cover it while we were walking around. And
You put the fear of God into the poor child. Someone's going to take you. The poor thing is probably terrified.
yeah, she's okay.
Okay.
She was just taking hiding the AirTag very seriously for the first few minutes until she found like the first like interactive thing, and then she completely forgot it existed.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
A success for peace of mind, but I didn't have any real field testing experience other than that to say whether it's practical.
Last up, we have the redesign of the Apple website, which is to add the Store tab back. So quite a few years ago, the Store tab was removed, and it was just the Apple sign, the homepage, and then all the sub products / services. But if you think back before that, there was always a store page which just listed all the products. Personally, I have spent a lot of time in the past on the store page, imagining all the nice things I could buy. So it's nice to have it back, but it is quite ugly. I don't understand why it looks like it does. At least when I open it, there's this massive border down the left, like heaps of empty space, and then everything is like off the page over to the right, and you have to scroll over. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like it was laid out by the work experience kid.
Yeah, it's laid out very similar to how the Apple Store app looks on the iPad now, which I think it works better on the iPad because the iPad has the left nav bar, which I feel like this is still trying to account for. But also, the store page is just kind of redundant because you click on the store tab, and the first thing you get is just a list of all the products: Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch across the top, which is the exact same thing that's across the top of their navigation bar at the top anyway. And clicking on them takes you to not the exact same page, but very similar page.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting much out of the store page existing, except that now they have some specific product agnostic places they can put things like their college sales, or it says buy a Mac, get AirPods, and they can advertise some services and stuff, and it's kind of a catch-all place. But there's not new information or useful information. It's just all in one place instead of having to go to a product-specific page to see it.
Someone at marketing thought they'd get more sales or have better spots to put certain things, and the page came back.
Maybe, yeah. I never thought it was especially tricky to figure out how to buy something, but I suppose you could maybe think that someone would click on the Mac page and think it's just Mac information and not actually buying a Mac. But the first thing you
If
see
anything,
when you click
it's
on Mac is a buy button.
Yeah, if anything, it's more confusing now. Like, do I go to Mac or do I go to store if I want to buy a Mac?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like maybe this is them experimenting with a new like UI, and they're just have the store page to try it out. Like, we're bringing our app layout to the web, and we'll see if it works with this page. And then if it works, the whole website will become this. Who knows?
Yes. It's pretty easy to track, I suppose, which page generated the sale.
Yeah, I'm sure they could figure that out.
Well, I'm James VDM on Reddit and on Twitter.
And I'm Jellywoot on Reddit and Twitter.
And the show notes are at reddit.com/r/the-r-apple-show.
And please go to my tweet and explain it to me.
And I have managed to not sneeze again this entire show.
Well, now you've had no chance to redeem yourself.
I saw your new screenshot of your Twitch invoice, and it's Twitch.
Yeah.
It's got the Twitch logo. It's got the Twitch colors.
Right. Yeah.
It looks nothing like the combined one that you had.
Right. Yeah, this isn't just a Twitch redesign. This is because that was the Hilton invoice that I had gotten previously, the same colors and everything. So I have no explanation for that.